All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today, Shir should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dova Cohen, and B'schus, L'Refuah Shalema Bekarov, Meshalom ben Sarachol, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today, we are on page 193 in the Ora Vigdor, for those who are following along, and we are starting Perik Revi. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Perik Revi. Perik Revi is going to be talking about this concept, as we all like to say, I trust in Hashem. Yes, I trust in Hashem. We're going to get into the idea of lip service. What does it mean, I trust in Hashem? In what aspect? Where? What? Chovos HaLevavos over here in Perik Revi is going to outline that there's different kinds of trust that goes into different aspects of our lives. And also, he's going to outline when it's appropriate to trust in Hashem and when it's inappropriate to trust in Hashem. Kind of the inappropriate way to trust in Hashem is like, I'll go in front of a bus and trust Hashem that I won't get killed. That's inappropriate, right? And so Perik Revi is going to focus on the analysis of trust, kind of understanding the different categories, how the different trust system works, and also there's different places that trust is required, and what those different areas are, and how they pertain to both this world and the world to come. So let's get into it today. Perik Revi. Now, he says like this, it's not a simple matter merely to say, I trust in Hashem. Bavigdor Miller says, you can't just say, oh, I trust in Hashem. It's not a blanket statement. You can't do that. You have to know how to apply the principle of Bitachon in every phase of your actual life. And Chovos HaLevavos now proceeds to explain this. He says, Aval hadvarim shechayev hamam and levtoyach behem ala boris ala, the circumstances in which a person is obligated to trust in Hashem, koilam oisa shnei minim, fall into two general high-level categories. And those two categories are echad mehem divrei ha'olam hazeh, things that pertain to this world, v'hasheni divrei ha'olam haba, there are matters that pertain to the world to come to olam haba. Now, the first category, matters that pertain to this world, is also broken down. It's broken down like this. V'divrei olam hazeh is broken down yechlaku l'shnei chalakim. Matters that pertain to us on this world are also broken down into two subcategories. Echad mehem inyonei ha'olam u'te'alas ha'olam hazeh. One of these consists of worldly matters pertaining to the physical things needed for this world, such as food, shelter, all those things that come with it, business, all that fun stuff. And Hasheni and Yonei Olam Te'elas Olam Haba, and the second part consists of worldly matters, things that we do on this world that are going to help us later in Olam Haba. So Rabbi Avigdor says, let's say you need money in order to buy tefillin, right? So the earning of the money is, for a good purpose is a physical thing. So, but the end purpose is for the worldly objective. So you see that we have an obligation on this world to go to work, to make money, to buy a physical item, which is tefillin, because Hashem commanded us to put on tefillin. But the outcome of that worldly matter of going to work to make money to buy tefillin is so that we can get schar in Olam Haba because we put on tefillin every single day, like Hashem asked us to do. Now, worldly matters concerning this world, or the Shaar HaBitachon says, and worldly matters pertaining to the physical things needed to this world, the physical things that we need are broken into three parts as well. And by the way, again, today we're just going to start with the framework of Perik Revi. Perik Revi is really, really big, and we're just going through the framework so we can understand what we're going to be up against over the next couple of weeks, or maybe even a month and a half or so. Echad mehem ta'alas gufa bilvad. One of those matters consists of the benefit to our own body alone. An example is eating or like exercise, something for our own physical well-being. The second is for the benefit of one's livelihood, the sources of one's wealth and various possessions. So besides food and clothing, Rabbi Avigdor Miller says, there are many things that you don't need right away, but they're for this world. So you do need food and shelter right away, but what you don't need yet, or you might not need ever, is wealth, extreme amounts of wealth as well. For example, you need property such as a house and furniture. You may also need to have money in the bank and insurance on that. And then everything that comes around that, even a vacation and time off, all those things pertain, but they're all ancillary. Vashlishi, the third category is Te'elas B'nei Beisai. The third is for the benefit for one's household. The Ishtoi, his wife, Ukroivav, his relatives, V'yahavav, V'oivav, and his friends and his enemies. And we're going to get into the enemies part. I know it's always a big question, but we're going to get into that later on. And dealing with enemies is also a problem of Bitachon. How we deal with that enemy, how we perceive those individuals is also a part of us, is a part of that, a big part of that is Bitachon. And a person who needs Bitachon in relations to those who are superior to him in authority, like teachers or government, and those who are below him in status, like employees and servants. Miktos b'nei Adam, among the different classes of people. So in your social circles, you're going to find very often when you look around the world or in your social circles or in different things, you're going to find there are people that you regard as above you in levels, and you're going to have people that you regard in lower levels. As much as we don't like to kind of say, or many of us, most of us, I hope, don't like to say, I'm below him or above him or whatever, or things like that. But in reality, there are people that are above you. You do have government. You do have a rabbi, someone who you look up to, a mentor. Those are people who are above you. Now, worldly matters concerning the world to come. And then you go into that second part. The things of this world that a person does for the benefit of gaining the world to come, can also be divided into two parts. One includes mitzvahs that one does with his mind and his body, that a person does by himself without requiring participation from another person. His actions with regard to those mitzvos have no effect on anyone else besides himself. So Rav Av gives an example. He says, if a person has emunah in Hashem, that emunah is between him and him himself only. It has nothing to do with your wife, your children, or anybody else. Maybe at some point it comes out because of the way you act, but it has nothing to do with anyone else. If you keep Shabbos or if you don't keep Shabbos, that's on you only. It doesn't affect the world around you. You keep it to yourself, has nothing to do with anyone else. Putting on tefillin, putting on tzitzis, shaking lulav and esrog, davening, learning for yourself. All those things are mitzvos that you do for yourself. And if you do it or not, it doesn't affect anyone else for the good or for the bad. V'achelik hasheni, and the second part includes Chovos HaLevavos, obligations over the limbs, asher lo yochel asoisam elo behishtatfus zulasa imoy. They can only be fulfilled together with another person, before where one is active and another one is passive, like tzedakah and other chesed that we do. You can't give tzedakah to another person unless you have another person. So there are mitzvahs out there that you can't fulfill those mitzvahs unless you have other people involved in that. So it does affect other people. Like he says over here, tzedakah, or building a home, pruruvu, or if you want to do chesed to help someone else, you cannot help someone else if there's no one else to help, right? There are a lot of things out there, or it teaches us, lilmod u'lamed, to learn and to teach. So you can learn by yourself, but you can't teach to no one. You need someone, you need a second person at the very least in order to fulfill the mitzvah of teaching another person. And those are the interpersonal mitzvahs that we talk about. V'limud ha'chachma. One other examples are following the teachings of Chachamim. You can't teach unless you have talmidim to teach. V'latzvos batoiv, telling people to do good. You have to be able to have someone else to keep them on the right course, teach them about Hashem, teach them Torah, show them how life can be great when you learn how to be part of Hashem's, how to be a good Eved Hashem. Ulahazim in hara, and to teach them how to kind of refrain from doing Averas. Now, we'll get into the rest tomorrow because it is a lengthy part. But the idea over here is we're going to be going through the framework, Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow as well, into understanding that Bitachon is variable. It's not straight up the way you think it is. There are different parts to it that require a different thought process, a different way of handling it, and it's not a blanket statement. I trust in Hashem. I'm going to sit around and do nothing. We've learned. We just came off of this. It's shtadlus, right? We need to cause and effect system. Right? You can't just say, I trust in Hashem and lay in bed all day and skim through YouTube videos. Hopefully you're watching Rav Av on there. But you can't just sit around and do nothing and expect an outcome. You need to do stuff out there, right? And so this is going to show you, in Perek Revi, how and where it's appropriate to have bitachon, and where you need to actually put forth your best effort. And then you put up your hands and you say it's up to Hashem. And that's where it ends. I want to add one more thing that I heard this morning from a friend of mine in Shul, Dudi Gross. He actually, we were talking about finishing off yesterday, Perek Shlishi. We talked about how going to work for itself is a mitzvah. That Hashem didn't command us go out and make $10, $100, $1,000 an hour. He didn't say that. He said go out and do work. So by us going out to do work, we are fulfilling God's will, Hashem's will, in order to gain our schusim in our life. The outcome is not up to us, as we know and we learn in Shaar HaBitachon. I was telling this to my friend Dudi Gross. Dudi Gross told me something very interesting. He said the world was created to do chesed, to be giving. He told me that for years, he went to work to receive. He went to work so he can make money, so that Hashem can give him money, so that he can provide for himself and his family. As later on came along, and he said, I watched your video yesterday, and I thought about this. He said, years later, I've only learned that I go to work to give. And when we finished off yesterday in that video, he told me that actually falls in line with his thought process. He says, I don't go to work to receive. I go to work to give to Hashem, because I am going to fulfill Hashem's will for me to go to work. If Hashem wants to give me back, how much he wants to give me back, that's up to him. It's not up to me. We can't make that happen. And so I figured it was appropriate to, yesterday that we finished it and it came to fruition. I spoke to a few different people about it and they loved that concept. But again, today and going for the next couple of weeks, or at least a month, we're going to be talking about the appropriate place to place your bitachon, when to put it into place, when we must put our best foot forward, our shtadlis, and create that cause and effect system that Hashem put into the cause and effect system that Hashem created on this world. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today, and I love you all.